Hello and welcome to Chatting Shit about the Glacial Cup. Exciting day today. We've got two new faces. We've got Jake, SharkyKing, and Clark, Magoo Pants. It's also my first time recording this from Canada, and more importantly, it's Dan's 21st birthday. How is everyone?
Great, thanks for having us, Matt.
No, it's good.
Likewise, it's really good there.
I'm doing all right. I'm really glad that you picked up the accent already. Although that was more Scottish, I think.
I'll get there.
Becca Chu to be speaking like that soon.
When's your Welsh accent coming out then?
Most of the stuff that they say down here sounds rude. A cutch, for example.
Oh yeah.
Someone tries to give me a cutch. It's like a hug, but it's just a little bit more. It sounds horrible, but it's actually really nice.
It's the regular greeting between Dan and Jamie, then.
Yeah, pretty much. It's coach.
good word for you to learn. Oh dear. So yeah, not sure what order this is going to come out in. Possibly number 2, possibly number 3, possibly number 4. We'll see.
One of them.
So has anyone got any initial thoughts on the matter? Anything that's anyone's particularly excited about or dreading?
Do you know what? I picked up the matter late, so I really looked at it very late last night, and yeah, last month was better than expected. It was better than expected for a whitelist cup. Actually, it was quite open and stuff like that. But I am glad we're going back to the type-based cup, and I am happy that a lot of the big hitters are taken out of the way. So we're not going to see just a million Alterias. Everyone's got a DD, you know. It's a bit more fun. I do think it's going to be polarizing by one Pokemon. I think one Pokemon's going to shine above everybody else and will feature in most teams. You know, it's Christmas, so we might as well have a snowman. But I do think there's going to be a lot of snowmen about. But other than that, yeah. I mean, couldn't they just ban Hypno just to get it out of the way with? I mean, let's just ban Hypno from every cup.
Right.
Please, Silph, take notice. Or Matt, take notice.
It's a bit boring, isn't it?
I can't think of a reason to bring Hypno here.
I know, but some idiot will.
Yeah,
they will.
They will, but more fool than. That's what I reckon.
I've not been told what to take yet. We all know I'm self-admittedly a novice at this kind of stuff. I lack the skill and the ability and the knowledge, but I've got a lot of charisma, so I've not been told.
You beat me in round 1 in Huddersfield last month, mate, so you can stop with this. Oh, I'm a novice.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I've seen the video of you. You were trying to battle me whilst tying your shoelaces with your teeth at the same time. You were bound to lose. Do you know, I think that this is going to be a Nidoqueen Cup, I reckon. I think we're going to see tons of them. And I'm really pleased to see the likes of a bit of practice earlier on today. I was messing about with an Achu and seeing Psychic just wipe it off the face of the planet. It's a really beautiful scene. So I hope we're going to get to see lots of that. There's that squid-faced dude. I think that's going to be an awesome pick as well.
Squid-faced
cover. Is it Malamar?
Oh yeah.
Malamine, mammary gland, whatever you want to call it. I think that's going to be a really decent pick as well. Just Psycho Cut? Don't know the real name. Dark Move, is it a foul language?
Yeah.
There we go. And Superpower, I just think it's going to cover loads of different things. But it's
I think
not
the Psycho Cut's going to come in massively. I think that's, yeah. There's a couple of Pokemon with Psycho Cut in this cup that I think will feature heavily. So
interesting.
But you never know. Other people may speak about these in a different chatting shit. So,
yes, they may do. Jake, any thoughts?
So I think, like you were saying, I think Hypno's in there, but I think it's a bit of a red herring. It's one of those ones where you think Hypno's in the cup, everyone's going to use it, but you're not, because there's way too many answers for Hypno in this one. And I think, like you were saying, that Snowman is going to be big. the Snowman's going to be quite so big because there's no counter users.
Oh, I don't think Snowman will be, I think there's plenty of counters to Snowman.
There is a counter user. If you look,
I know there is.
There's two?
There's two.
There's two. There's two.
Although for most people there's only one. But
What you mean?
Is one of them a dragon by any chance?
Aye, it's a big boy dragon. Well, do you want to start us off tonight, Clark? Clark, with your pick.
Right. So, a very wise individual with whom has only done one tournament and is about 5 places behind me in the ranks is Zed. Basically, stick to the stuff that you used to, what you like, what you enjoy using, and what you you can use against certain things. So I'm going to pick, for many reasons, one of which clearly northern, I'm picking a Froslass. Lass, clearly northern, otherwise it'd be like a frost femme or frost lass bird.
Frost
maybe.
lady.
A lady, exactly. So that's what I think I'm going to go for. I also think there's not many ghosts in this, which is going to be very beneficial against the psychic picks that people are going to have. I mean, what ghosts are there? I think there's going to be... Is Haunter going to be allowed? Is Haunter a poison as well?
Haunter, Gengar.
That's about it, though, isn't it, really?
Yep, those three. Another good reason is because it will eat a Nidoqueen, and we know that I'm not keen on those. And I just find that with a little bit of energy there, so lead in with her, build her up a bit, hide her back for a bit, and she's just relentless. She can smash so much stuff to pieces. The things that I've been caught well and truly off guard by are, how on earth does a frenzy plant from a Venusaur, which is also going to be invited, do so much to this ghosty ice lady? I don't get it, but it's something to be mindful of. Yeah, I don't have a massive amount to say about her. Shadow Ball is just a wicked move, and there's not really anything that massively resists it, I don't think.
No, there's a couple of dark types, but nothing that wants to take an avalanche, that's for sure.
Oh, Greninja, I think that's going to be in there. They'll probably be able to take it on the chin.
Giraffe.
Gate attack. Greninja is what they're recommending from the sims that I've done, which...
I mean,
Gate attack.
There's a couple, yeah, you've got Crawdaunt there, but none of these dark waters are particularly bulky. You've got Bibarel, but the Froslass can flip the zeros versus Bibarel quite quickly, so that's not great either. Like this is it. It hurts everything, doesn't it, Froslass?
I think when Froslass is ever involved in any cup, and I mean we've experienced it through time gone by. I go back to Sorcerers where Froslass was just amazing for me. She was fantastic. But yeah, Froslass with energy or Froslass with shields, nothing wants to really come against it, and wherever she's available, she will always be good.
I've pretty much abused her well and truly as much as possible. I did a bit of messing about looking through all my previous tournaments. Yeah, I said it. And yeah, I just brought her along as many times as I could. I like her.
I love how all three of us pulled the same face there.
What was that, Jake?
I love how all three of us pulled the same face there about abusing Froslass.
Do you know, I just think it's really funny. Like whenever Trudy's been on, but Trudy always talks about Froslass when she can, and I don't think I've ever heard anyone speak about Froslass in such a different way. Trudy's like, oh, she's glamorous, she's fantastic, she's brilliant. Clark's here. I abused her.
She's northern. I abused her.
I won't show you pictures. That's as Jay knows all about. That's on my OnlyFans. That's another conversation for another day.
I mean, looking through the meta here in the one shields, and I've just done a meta list myself because obviously PvP hasn't updated with anything, so I'm just going blind. She's beating 65% of the meta. Picking up big wins against things like Skuntank, Flygon, Venusaur. You know, there's wins out there. Hypno, Lugia, Nidorina. You know, she's got tools in her arsenal that she can use. As I said, I think 2 shields is where she really comes into play more than anything else. She wins 92% of the meta in the 2 shields, which, yeah, exactly. It's a little bit dirty. But it's Froslass. we know she's a little bit dirty, really. You know, we might as well go full filth now, you know.
Chatting filth.
I want running with that one. I will leaving that to you. And that's the thing. I think I picked it before I even knew what the meta was. Oh no, that was Ambipom, wasn't it?
So it was. That. Yeah, it was. I approached Clark about this, so he says, "Oh, I'll pick Ambipom." I'm like, right, okay.
What I will say is, she's not for the zeros.
No.
She only has 12% in the zeros. So, you know, you're talking about a big difference between 2 shields and 0 shields. So you do have to be mindful for that. So maybe, as you said, having her in the lead, building from her might be the way forward to try and hit and, you know, attack first, you know, strike first, strike hard.
Yeah.
Type
Have we
thing.
got any party poppers? I've come out with a good idea.
What do you reckon, Jake? Any Froslass ideas?
So we were saying earlier on, weren't we, that like no matter what the tournament is, there's always going to be metas and pitfalls. And I think that Froslass is one of those. You don't need to know what's in it. You just need to know that for a fact, Froslass is going to be good. Like, as you said, 92% win rate in the 2 shields. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. I think the thing with this cup is that there's not many hard counter pairings knocking about. And when something hits as hard and as fast as Froslass does, it makes it very hard to beat reliably, isn't it? I remember I was running Empoleon in the Commander Cup, thinking, oh, that'll be a Froslass counter, fine. And for the most part, it is. But I think it's 3 powder snows. So I mean, you know, that's generous. Like if someone safe switches Froslass, you can probably you can probably switch your Empoleon in before you get to 3. But you know, maybe later on in the game, if the switch clocks are a little bit offset and that sort of stuff, all of a sudden Froslass is taking out Empoleon or forcing shields. Yeah, it's just there's nothing here like, I don't know, there's nothing like a Ninetales here. You can come in, resist the ice moves and farm. Like, you're not beating Froslass by farming here. Not very often anyway. Yeah. But unless anyone's got anything else to say about Froslass, it's probably a good way to transition into my pick.
No. Go ahead.
Cool. Well, my pick is something I tried desperately to use in the Carracosta Cup way back when, which has been, I'm pretty sure, still to this day, my worst ever Silph Cup. So perhaps there's a bit of foreshadowing here. Perhaps it's not a great idea. But my pick is number 565. It's Carracosta.
Come on, Matt, you can say it better than that. Come on, it's Carracosta.
Roll your R's.
You gotta really, really kind of like throw it out there. Carracosta ace.
I'm so confused. Carracosta, let them know. Carracosta.
See, there you go. There's a man who rolls his R's.
Said it out.
Yeah, Carracosta. Like, I feel like this meta, we spoke about the lack of counter users. We've seen Lapras be quite safe in the Brawler Cup despite there being counter users. I think we're going to see a lot of Lapras and Celio. And in episode 1, Jamie spoke about Barbaracle, which I think is a really good pick. Carracosta does sort of a similar job to Barbaracle, but is a bit more specialised. Like, Carracosta will go in there, rock throw down your seals, and then also will just throw body slams at you for days. I think having body slam is really important here. It's quite a fast-paced cup. It's a lot of powder snow, a lot of ice punch, a lot of weather ball, a lot of body slam. And having something that's able to keep up with, I mean, Lapras is a fairly quick one, but Celio is a very quick one. Having something that's able to keep up with Celio, and if it needs to, anyway. I mean, it doesn't really need to because you can just rock throw through it, really. But if you're behind on energy, you can keep up with the damage versus Celio. It could potentially be really valuable. It is a water type that is doing damage that isn't water type damage, which is also really valuable because then you're not being resisted by dragon, and other waters. It's also the typing, the rock water typing is really good here. Resisting poison from the things like your Shadow Skuntanks, your Shadow Drapions, your Beedrills. I think they're going to be quite good. So having a rock type is pretty nice for that. And I'm pretty sure you can take on a Bomber Snow in the 2s and the 1s if it doesn't bait in the 1s as well, which is pretty handy. Unlike Barbarical, it's not particularly versatile. So you've got no play versus your Mud Boys. You've got no play versus your Bronzong. You do have play versus your Alolan Sandslash, but that's about it. But I think the really interesting one is Swilus. You can beat Swilus in the 1s if Swilus doesn't bait, but if it's baiting, it's frame body slam, and you're a rock type. So is it going to do that? I don't know. Yeah, I think it's not something to start your team with. I don't think there's bigger threats out there than Carracosta, but there's nothing that does quite what Carracosta does. Yeah, I quite like it, and it's one of the very few things out there that will hard counter Froslass, which is the key thing, which I somehow failed to admit despite noting that it was a good transition. But yes, it's an incredible counter to Froslass. So yeah, that's about all I've got to say on Carracosta.
I used Carracosta in Catacombs. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a nice mon. I think as well, I know we're talking about the rock throw, and there's no point in the water gun here. No. There is just absolutely no point. So if any confusion at all, don't use water gun. Unless you're playing against me, use water gun. Go for it. It'd be great against me. Anyone else, rock throw all the way along. Interesting you say about the Abomasnow match. I've just brought it up there. Wow, it destroys Abomasnow. Mm-hmm. Like, really destroys Abomasnow in every shield scenario, which I'm a little surprised at, to be honest. Just grass water, call me naive and obvious there, but you think grass beats water, but no, Carracosta absolutely annihilates it. It's not even close. Looking at it, it wins 81% of the meta in 2 shields, which is it's really good. And it's a nice fun mon. We all enjoy body slam, and I think you're right, the rock throws are going to hurt so much in this cup, especially with there being so much ice and water and things like that about. You're going to see Laprases, you're going to see Abomasnows, as we've already touched upon. So I'm a big fan of Carracosta anyway, just because I enjoy saying Carracosta. It brings me back to Hero Vans when he did about it way back when, and it just I've always been a big fan of Carracosta. So, and it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, isn't it? So you don't love a turtle?
Who don't love a turtle?
A little bit. Was that the guy who was also talking about Scolipede as well? I wasn't sure how to say it.
Yeah. See,
it was quite
everyone loved Hero Vans. PvP Steve does the thumbs up on his little infographics on his Meta Sympathize ad because of Hero Vans, because everybody loved him, and he quit because he's a quitter. Ooh. There you go, Vans. Ooh. You're a quitter. If you're watching this, come to Hamforth, come to Spice Night. We'll show you. You shouldn't be a quitter.
Any mention of Hero Vans is a good mention, because the guy's a genius. He's like, back in, what was it, season 2, he was the guy that first taught me how to beat I don't know what it was, a Toxicroak, just to figure it out myself. And there's his videos. I miss him.
Ace Trainer Will used to say, it's because he's Filipino. He's great, he's Filipino. But yeah, we're digressing massively. But I suppose that's where my love of Carracosta comes from, though, is that.
Yeah. It's you mentioned it's playing the 2s. It's rock throw. It's a bit more fast move, damage heavy than I normally like my mons to be honest. But it's one of those mons because it's got body slam that I don't mind using. I don't think. Well, I say I don't mind. I haven't played yet, so I don't think I'd mind using 2 shields on it because it's the sort of thing you can come out with 70 energy on, so you can throw 2 body slams at the next thing or something like that. And realistically, the only thing that can take a body slam comfortably in this meta is Froslass. So, and no one's bringing Froslass into your Carracosta. I mean, there's other rock types as well, I suppose. There are things like Barbaracle and Amistar and...
The Ghosts, you've got Haunter and Gengar in there as well.
Right, okay. Oh, yeah, and you've got Surf for them, so they're going to have to shield. I think it's pretty... I don't know, if the meta turns out to be a switch-based, which I'm not sure that it will, looking at it, to be honest. I think this meta could go so many different ways. I'm really excited about it, to be honest. But if it does go switch-based, like if we see lots of snowmen, lots of bronzongs, lots of Zweilous, because I mean, there's a triangle there if you want it. I mean, if it does go switch-based, things like Carracosta could that are really good in the 2s could help you gain that switch. So, yeah.
No, I can see that. I can see your thought process in that, the fact of, because that triangle you're talking about there, I do think is going to feature. I know other dragons are available, but I think other people have already touched on the fact of Zweilous is there. It's so hard hitting. It's got the dark moves because everyone, again, going back to the Hypno thing, everyone's going to have that in their mind that a Hypno is going to be there, or a Jirachi, or a Bronzong or something like that. He's going to be there. Steel's going to play a heavy part in this cup just because of his resistance to certain other types and things. So
I think it's difficult to make a really strong argument for Carracosta over Barbaracle, unless you specifically need a Froslass counter, or
doesn't Carracosta beat Barbaracle though?
I wouldn't have thought so.
I thought with the Surfs it would.
It might be close.
Let's find out, shall we?
Let's find out.
Go on.
To the Sims!
Well, while someone's doing that, what I think's quite nice is, like we talked about Zweilous being the dragon, but what if it can, Carracosta, Barbaracle beats Zweilous quite comfortably-ish, but all of a sudden, if someone brings Dragalge as the dragon, Barbaracle's having a much tougher time there, and that's where, like, the sort of strong neutral damage of rock for a body slam on Carracosta might help you out versus some oddball things that people might bring.
It would be an oddball thing to bring Dragalge here, though.
It would,
wouldn't it?
But it's a good mon.
I'm not saying it's not a good mon. I think
I could see it in an ABB double dragon. I don't think. No, I know there's a lot of ice knocking about, but will we see multiple ice types on every team? I mean, we'll definitely see one on every team. I think 2 will be common, but I don't think.
I think something about that though is that obviously, there's going to be a lot of ice types, but that Dragon Tail on Dragalge doesn't care. Like, it's still going to hit you, and it's still going to hit you hard.
Exactly.
It's like a wave of pain.
Yeah.
And unlike Zweilous, it can hit Froslass. Again, I think Froslass is going to be big, so I'm focusing on the Froslass. Dragalge, it's got Aqua Tail to hit Froslass, whereas, I mean, obviously...
I know what, bring it. I could change my mind.
But yeah,
I'm going to bring a meow stick.
Like it.
I'm going to bring a meow stick with charm. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh Christ! Don't do that.
No, I was hoping we were going to get no charm this month. I was really hoping, I was going to end battles and not think the person is a lesser person because they've just charmed me down, and then when I've beaten the charmer, they've come straight in with Talonflame, and I'm gone, just go away. Go away. I don't play GBL for these reasons. I don't need to play it in Silph.
Do you know what I found worse than that, though? I found worse is when people have a charmer but don't use it. I think that's the worst thing.
That's the best thing. That's the smart thing. That's what I do.
What was that done in the last chat and shit episode with you saying that you just keep it in your team as bench pressure?
Yeah, that was the only reason it was there. I think I used it about 3 times all month.
You don't even bring it. That was something I thought were amazing. That you've got bluffing is a rule that's a recognised rule. I don't have one of them, but I'll just pretend I have.
Do you know what? I know people who have done that in tournaments who have genuinely put on a poke. See, Jake, Jake's done it loads of times.
I've got that bloody error malarkey bug rock dude that kicked everyone's ass last month. Yeah, I've got 3 of them. I brought them with me. If only I knew that I could have pretended. That would have been brilliant.
I mean, it's a bold strategy. It's a bold strategy. People did it right back. Were any of you guys playing Season 1?
Yeah, it was Cresselia, wasn't it, that people did it with?
That's not what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Tropius in Tempest Cup.
That was a bit before me.
Yeah, it was very, very early. It might have been like the third month of it. So that was a long time ago now. But yeah, I mean, you can bluff, but yeah, I don't know.
It takes some balls bluffing. It does. It takes some balls.
If you're going to bluff as well, like, you've got to be aware that people are going to plan around that, and then you've actually got to have the balls and the skill to make sure that your bluff pays off, and then you're not just saying, yeah, I've got 5 mons instead of 6, so, like, sorry guys.
I already mentioned with my disclaimer, I ain't got any of that, so I'll just stick to what I got.
Did a practice tournament once, and I had a 5 that I really liked, but couldn't figure out what 6 I wanted. So what I did at the practice tournament was I ran a Squirtle, or I just entered a 10 CP Squirtle. It's like, right, there you go. I've got 5 mons, and then that helps me figure out my weaknesses. I
was going to say, surely bluffing is better than that, and making it seem like you're super weak to something.
But I didn't know what I wanted to be super weak.
It's only a practice tournament, it doesn't matter, does it?
Well, that's true. But I think it's only good to make you bluff to make yourself super weak to something if you want your opponent to think you're super weak to something. Whereas I didn't necessarily know what I wanted my opponent to think I was super weak to. It was an odd one.
It's definitely the odd one. I would definitely, if I lost to you and you had a 10 TP Squirtle in there, I'd be a little bit miffed.
Well, you've almost beat me before with a Chespin, so I'm not too far off that.
Chespin's amazing though, mate. Chespin's amazing.
Okay, well, before we go on too much about Chespin, I'll let you talk about your actual pick time.
Let me just check my notes.
Okay.
So, my Pokemon that I'm going to pick about this, it was a bit of a meme last month. I think it's going to be a king this month. It's Pokédex number 537. It's the Vibration Pokemon. Yes, that's right. It's Swampert's ugly cousin. It's Seismitoad.
You froze to me just as you were like, it's...
As if you were suffering from its own... Yeah. Well, you were suffering from the vibrations from that. Yeah, anyway.
Anyway, we'll move on. I originally started looking at Seismitoad, to be honest, just as a bit of a meme, thinking, oh, well, I talked about it last month and said it was a bit of a joke. Let's see how it is. And do you know what? I actually think it's got a place here. My dad used to say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And in this case, Seismitoad knows all the big hitters and it's got quite a few of their numbers.
I wondered where that was going.
Tangents! Hey, if Jan can go for 90 minutes, I can go for a 90-minute tangent too. You just watch me.
That's just on Chespin.
Don't get me back on Chespin. I'm going to finish up on that. Don't worry, I'll get there eventually. It's all leading back to it.
The real question is, does this mud boy beat a grass type?
No, and it also loses to Emolga, but Emolga's banned, so hey.
So is Chescombe, for that matter.
Yeah, they're both banned, so Seismitoad's game. And you look down the list of the things it beats. I mean, it beats Carracosta we just talked about, beats Stuntank, it beats Bronzong, it beats Drapion, which I think Drapion's going to be quite a nice little pick here. I think it's got a nice little place. Beats Jirachi, which I think is going to be really good. Beats Victini, beats Seviper, beats G-Dash. I think G-Dash is, again, it's going to be good here. I think it's going to have a nice little place in the meta. Crawdon also loses to it. The list goes on. It even beats Regice, which, again, I think is another one that could just throw people Regice, because, again, them lock-ons can all add up really quickly. Only beats 40% of the meta in the 1 shields, 50 in the 2 shields, and even worse in the zeros. But again, it's about the ones that it does beat. Looking at the grasses and stuff like that, we've already said Abomasnow is the big grass in this cup. Seismitoad loses to Abomasnow, which you'd expect. It's a pseudo water type. It's going to lose to a grass type. But Abomasnow has 28 HP left. And Shadow only has 10 HP left after the beating. So easily farmer downable by whatever you're bringing in. You bring in something super weak and it's going to be farm downable. So yeah, I think it's got a place there. What is it? Farm downable is funny.
No, there's the situation going on behind me. It's fun. It's just a bit weird.
Is it farm downable?
Is it farm downable?
I think it's being farmed down. I'm kind of concerned about what's going on.
So long as it's not farmed down to a nub, and there's plenty left over, should be all right.
With Seismitoad, I've been looking at it whether you'd run Sludge Bomb or Muddy Water. I'm still not convinced.
Sludge Bomb.
Sludge Bomb.
I think Sludge Bomb. I do think Sludge Bomb, but it does have a higher win percentage with Muddy Water. But you don't do as well in the Abomasnow match, which is why I'm thinking more Sludge Bomb, is because you actually leave Abomasnow in that kind of position where it's weak and you can take it. Anything's going to take it down. Muddy Water, though, does... Sorry?
It's farm downable.
It's farm downable. Farm downable. It's simple. Muddy Water, though, does pick up some cracking wins and things like that. I mean, with the likes of Barbarical, which we were talking about earlier, you can be at a shield disadvantage with Muddy Water and absolutely crush it, not even breaking a sweat. So it does have a place there. I've done 4 battles today using Seismitoad. That's my grand total of battles for this cup. And I used Seismitoad each time just to see, actually, was I going mental or was it actually worthwhile? And yeah, actually really played a good part. I think it's a really underrated mon. I think it's so unassuming, again, because if you were going to use a Mud Boy, you would use Wishcash or you would use Swampert normally. Obviously, Swampert's not, it's not really an option here. And Wishcash, I think, it's going to take too long. It doesn't have the variance. I know you've got the Blizzard and things like that, but again, Seismitoad's doing all that for you anyway. It's doing what it needs to. So, yeah, vibration Pokemon. Apparently, it ooze out some kind of poison that makes you really ill. That's supposedly what I read online. So, yeah, don't want to mess with that.
No, that sounds like something you'd find on a Friday night in Handforth. That's
outside Greg's, I believe.
Outside Greg's.
Outside Greg's.
No, I really like Seismitoad. Yeah, you mentioned the lightness sort of Wishcash. But Wishcash is always good on paper. I always find myself being a bit disappointed by Mud Bomb. So I often look at Quagsire when Swampert's banned, but then because Earthquake's considerably further away, although when you're using Mudshot it doesn't feel like that sometimes, because it's further away. Sometimes you lose the reliability against some things like Bronzong. I know Bronzong can flip the 2s versus Quagsire if you're not baiting with and if you've got like a confusion lead or something, because I've been looking at both those monsters, to be honest. But Seismitoad is sort of a nice middle ground. Like you're faster to the Earth power than Quagsire is to the Earthquake, but you're not using Mud Bomb. And yeah, it's probably not as good, generally speaking, as Whiscash or Quagsire, but you're still beating the things that Whiscash or Quagsire are in there to beat. So at the point at which you're running Whiscash or Quagsire, I definitely think it's worth considering, to be honest. I think it's a decent pick.
As you were saying as well, it's one of those things where since you've got bloody water possibility, you've got the opportunity for a big bait there, and if someone falls for that and get the debuff, then it's not going to be a fun time for whoever's on the receiving end of that, and then you've still got the opportunity to nuke it at the end.
And any thoughts on Seismitoad, Clark?
My missus loves it.
There you go, rounding endorsement, people.
There you go.
Seismitoad.
Exactly. 39.9 rates the Seismitoad. Use it. There we go.
I'm sorry.
Now,
something about those poisonous spots, isn't it? That's.
Yeah, I got it looked at. They said it's not catching. And if I knew anything about it being anything to do with a vibration Pokemon, which kind of goes with the name, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Possibly wouldn't have promoted that fact. But no, I do agree. I think that getting out the ground move, not an earthquake, is I think it's going to be pretty beneficial, yeah. Especially with all the poison that's going to be about and likes.
There ain't much that resists ground, actually, like outside of a Bomber Snow. There's not many flyers. There's Pelipper and Golbat off the top of my head, Dragonite. But it's difficult to bring flyers with ice types around, isn't there?
I just don't think they're going to be there. I mean, the ones it beats, Froslass beats it very easily. A Bomber Snow, which we've already talked about, Celio beats it, Whiscash does beat it, Malamar beats it, Milotic, beats it, and Lapras. But again, you're starting after that, you're going into Pokemon which are not really going to feature. And unless you're talking about pure grass and you're one of them Razor Leafers, which you should all go and have a word with yourself if you are a Razor Leafer, like literally go and, as Lego Batman once said, take a look at yourself and really make that change. You should really. Sorry, I've been watching Lego Batman this week.
So wasn't that Michael Jackson?
I was going to say, yeah, I'm sure.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Lego Batman, mate. Pretty sure. I don't quote Michael Jackson. Lego Batman. Yes.
That's Batman, without doubt.
But yeah, unless you're going into like a pure grass or something like that, you're not beating it. The stuff it beats, and a lot of the stuff it beats comfortably, is the stuff that's going to feature in this cup. So, yeah, I don't know. I could be proven wrong. I could, I've done one team build and I've made a team which actually I'm quite comfortable with. I think it's quite nice. I've got ideas what I'd pair Seismitoad with. A Beedrill, for instance, just to try and, again, make sure I'm getting that Bomber Snow down quick enough. I want something that comes in that's snappy, and having them ground moves and bug moves is useful. So I think Steel's going to be big. I think every team's going to have a Steel, and I think you need something that's going to stand up to that. And having the poison moves without being too weak to it is good.
Yeah, I think quite a few Jirakis and Bronzongs are going to be scattered all over the place. I'm flirting with the idea of bringing a Roserade with me, just because it's just another one of those ones that I use a lot. And I think that Roserade and Venusaur, I think they're going to be a couple of decent picks, just because Venusaur's a truck. And everyone knows a frenzy plant is, you're not going to pick yourself up after one of them. But I just love...
Roserade a good shout,
I think Roserade a good shout.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
Give you a curveball.
All those steel types that we were talking about earlier, that weather ball. Oh.
Yeah, super spammer. I normally use mine with the poisonous fast move, but I think GBL's to blame for that because of that little blue mouse Easter egg that everyone loves.
We don't need to
You don't say the name. It's fine.
Banned from this cup. We don't need it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It should be banned from most cups. Because, it's boring. It's season 1.
That's it. It's so 2019. That's so. We've mentioned, like, we've talked about Mud Boys quite sort of broadly. What I think is quite interesting about Mud Boys is, and I know we don't like talking about Hypno, but going back to Hypno briefly, what charge moves are people going to be running on Hypno here? I think it's going to be Fire Punch.
Fire Punch and Thunder Minge, whatever it's called. Definitely.
I say
They're
Ice
the two
Punch,
I'm picking.
Fire Punch.
You'd say Ice Punch. I'm inclined
Ice and Fire.
I'm inclined to
I would
agree
have
with
thought
Clark.
Thunder and Fire.
I would have, I think Thunder and Fire. At which point, your Mud Boys could be looking decent checks to Hypno as well. I think definitely Fire, but then I think there's a shout for Ice Punch for Dragons. But given that if it turns out that Froslass is the main dragon, you're sort of beating a dead horse, really, aren't you, with Ice Punch on Hypno? I just think it's worth looking into.
I think there's enough and I just think everyone's going to have a Bomber Snow, or they're going to have that key ice type on their team, whether they're choosing to go the Lapras route. But I think they'll probably go the Bomber Snow route, to be honest, because it just makes more sense. You don't need the ice on the Hypno as having, as Clark quite eloquently put it, Thunder Minge.
I forget the names, don't I? So long as you know what I mean, and that's the important bit.
You know what, mate? I think we should petition the Pokémon Company to change it to Thunder Minge from Thunder.
It's already started. I've only got 2 signatures on it, mine and Rigel Starlight. And that's it. Sadly, I've already used this move before, but I'll see if we can tweak it.
Only Thunder Punch though, not Fire and Ice Punch.
Yeah, the other ones are fine.
No,
because that just confuse matters. You don't want it too much. Yeah.
I mean, who wants a Fire Minge, really? Thunder Minge
sounds painful.
Thunder Minge
We were talking about the Philippines earlier, weren't we? Sure, that's a drink. I'm ever so sorry.
How have you not been on chatting shit before, mate?
I'm a natural.
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that tonight.
Thunder Minge will be good against the Laprases. That was my point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's something to hit that with. And your Fire Punch is going to get most of the other stuff as well. So that's why I would go that way, personally. But I'm not going to run a Hypno because, I don't like looking in a mirror at the best of times, and I'm not going to tell myself to check myself in a mirror. So,
Right, fair enough. Do you want to move on to your pick?
Just before, let me just check my notes again.
But just in case you've left anything about Seismitoad,
Yeah. Nope, that was it. That was it.
Okay, right.
Okay, good. Right.
Go on then, Jake.
So I've gone a bit out there, and I thought to myself, there's not a lot of counters in this cup. But all the counter users that you've got are a bit glassy. So I've gone for a similar Pokemon with charge moves, and I've gone for Pokedex number 611, which is Fraxure. And I know not everyone's going to have access to an XG that's under 1500 CP when it evolves and all that kind of stuff, and it's expensive and all this. But it picked up a lot of wins, and I'm going to start off with a bad one. It's not a win, it's an upsetting loss. Seismitoad, as we were just talking about, Fraxure does not beat Seismitoad. But the things it does beat are some pretty impressive ones. So it beats Whiscash, which is another big one. It beats Quagsire. So there's your other two mud boys. You also beat Jirachi. It's a dragon that beats Froslass. You also beat Drapion. You beat the Hypno. You beat Alolan Grimer, which I know a lot of people are going to be pretty excited about. And you beat Crawdon, Pelipper, Shadow Vic, Latios, Gengar. And I'm upset that I didn't get to pick this one last week. You beat Shadow Metagross. XL Chinchou, for anyone who's mad enough to try and bring one of those with them. Beat Rainy Castform, Shadow Flygon, Mew, and Skuntank. So, yeah, you've got a couple of glaring weaknesses. You are not particularly favourable in most Ice Time matchups. But the ones that you do beat, obviously Froslass is a big one. And I think you come out of the Froslass matchup with 10 HP. Honestly, not a lot. Most things can finish you off with that 10 HP. But you also come out with 51 energy, which is enough to throw a Night Slash or a Dragon Claw or whatever comes in afterwards. And it's upsetting that it doesn't have counter. But that Dragon Tail damage, as I said earlier on, no matter what typing you are, no matter what's coming in, Dragon Tail hurts. You can be Steel, you can be whatever. It's Dragon Tail hits like a truck. And if you manage to get one of those Night Slash boosts, Dragon Tail's just like game over. Like you're in for a whale of a time if you get a Night Slash boost with a Dragon Tail.
And Fraxure's quite an attack-weighted mon as well. And I've just looked up now. It beats Bronzong in the ones because of Night Slash being so aggressive.
I think you win if you get the boost.
I'm just looking at it now.
I think it comes down to timing your moves well.
Yeah. If you manage to sneak one in, then yeah, you beat the Bronzong by quite a substantial margin.
Are you doing the Bronzong with payback, Matt?
Yeah, well, it shouldn't matter because it's not going to get. You're going to get to the second Night Slash before the Bronzong gets to the second Side Shock.
Yeah, it's going straight to Side Shock because the Bronzong will do.
Yeah, it's just making sure they don't sneak a confusion through. Seems to be the thing. Yeah, actually, that's really cool. Night Slash is really well. Alolan Sand Slash was banned. Alolan Sand Shrew was banned. Sorry, from this cup.
Yeah, so I did actually pick out a couple of big ones that I think are going to be out and about. So you obviously lose to Alolan Sand Slash. You lose to Lapras, but the Lapras only comes out with 24 HP. So that's, as we were saying, it is very easily farm downable. The Empoleon matchup is a loss, but they come out with 8 HP and no energy. So like, if you manage to sneak in a Dragon Tail there, you can probably flip that matchup quite easily.
It beats a lot of things. I mean, I don't have one because I'm not lucky enough to have one, to be honest. So there you go. I just still have one. But yeah, I'm looking at some of the stuff and it's beating convincingly and stuff like that. And as we were saying before, for me, I was looking at is the grass threat and things, but the steels are all there, the ghosts are all there, the mud boys are there. It's doing quite well, mate. It's I've never played with one, so I don't have that much to say about
neither
it.
have I was just looking through and I was thinking to myself, I'm really upset that I can't have a counter user. So I thought I'll try Haxorus. But I was going through it. I was thinking it's just too glassy. It's doing a lot of damage, but it's coming out with no health, and it's got and any of the matchups it's losing, it's dying with quite a lot of energy on. So that's just not good enough for me. So I was like, I'll bring it down a stage. It's got the same charge moves, and it's just that little bit bulkier. So it's enough to flip quite a few of those matches. Obviously, in some of the matchups where you need counter, like your Carracosta and Barbaric and Omastar and stuff like that, you're gonna need counter. But how many times are you going to come up against an Omastar or a Carracosta or a Barbaric? Yeah, they're one of those things that looks great on paper, but they're so rare out and about in the wild. Hypocritically, I'm saying that, talking about it. But you're not going to see that many. And I think with Fraxure having such hard-hitting fast move and such low energy charge moves, you're going to get to enough of those charge moves, you're going to deal enough damage that it doesn't really matter about not having counter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think it's going to be one of them as well where people are not necessarily going to know its moves. Certainly in a live tournament where, people are not playing by the seam of the wits and being quicker with battles and things like that. It's going to throw people massively and leave them a little bit confused. As I said, up until looking at it right now, if you'd have asked me, an hour ago what moves it had, I wouldn't have had a clue at all. I'd have probably thought it did have counter, to be honest. Yeah.
This morning, I didn't know what moves it had, and I sat there in my Pokemon storage with a rank 4 Fraxure. So yeah, you've got. I didn't know what it was doing, and I apparently got pretty good. So I can't guarantee that you guys are going to come up against many Fraxures. So don't particularly say that it's going to be one of those things you've got to prepare for. But
I'm just going to make a note about this.
I can confirm, by the way, that it does beat Chespin.
I'm going to edit it. I'm going to edit this so that when Dan looks at his notebook, it's Dan's face looking off the screen, and the notebook isn't going to be showing.
Oh.
Do it the other way around. So edit the notebook onto the other side of the screen.
Clark, as the only one of us here with experience using Fraxure, can you endorse it?
It's green, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much I've just powered it up to just under 1500 and I've looked at it. But that's all I've done.
Oh, right.
So if anyone wants to be on the receiving end of it later on this evening, then just ping me a message.
No worries, I'll be waiting with Seismitoad.
Sure, yeah.
All the rest, yeah.
So yeah, that is one thing. Like Seismitoad, the benchmark of all good Pokemon, you don't beat Seismitoad. But just bring along like Shadow Gloom or something. You've got nothing to fear.
I think the thing that I quite enjoy is the idea that, and I know everyone wants to poo-poo my lovely choice of a Lapras, but if I sneak that extra powder snow on you, how many HP are you going to leave with then?
I don't think you're going to.
That'll be one.
Yeah, I think if you sneak a powder snow through, I think it's game over. 10 HP, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good fun, and I really want to test it out personally, but I haven't used it. I've just sort of, it's one of those things I think that some people see stuff and they think that might come in handy. I'm going to keep that. I've not added another move onto it or anything like that, so I just can't say.
I'm now checking my only Axio that I've got in my Pokemon storage.
I know Jess, Nail Polish OCD, used it in Venture Cup, and she was very excited about it. She was very pleased with it. Yeah, because it was one of those 1-point dragons, wasn't it? When Dragon Tail got the buff before it was useless, and well, it wasn't useless. Some people were in Drigalgia.
It's not as good.
Yeah, some people were in Drigalgia before that, weren't they? But yeah, it was
humble brag there.
But yeah, when Dragon Tail came along and that 1-point dragon was there, Fraxure. Like, we never have spoken to people who've used Fraxure. They've only had good things to say about it. Really, like, it's not going to set the world alight, but it's going to do what you need it to do. And because it's got fast charge moves that hit hard, because it's Fraxure, it's always going to cause problems. And it's going to look. It looks like it's going to be a really fast-paced cup. And yeah, you might switch it. Obviously, well, if you were to safe swap a dragon type, that sounds like a bold move to do. But an ice type coming into it ain't going to beat you to a charge move.
It's not only that. If you safe swap into Fraxure and someone safe swapped into like counter swaps into a Froslass,
yeah,
they're not getting out of that alive. They're not winning to edge.
No.
Would you consider swapping it for the washing machine cleaning Pokemon? Was it Shelgon? Do you think that would have any play?
I think it's got some play, but I don't think I think they're completely different. I think Fraxure has fast charging, quickly charge moves, and
Shelgon has
obviously
Twister.
Yeah.
It's the boost from the nice slaps as well.
Yes.
I think that's going to be the key. As soon as you get that boost, and hopefully you get it before your last turn, Dragon Tail is such a, as I said, it's a wave of pain. It's so strong and such a decimating move that, it would be really good. So,
When Clark said the washing machine Pokemon, I thought he was referring to Rotom. No, I was like,
Dishwasher cleaning Pokemon.
dishwasher cleaning Pokemon. Right, fair. I was like, actually, I'm not sure what that's got to do with dragons, but it's a shout. Like,
To be fair,
you know what? I could have play.
I mean, Lantern is banned, but
yeah,
but Rotom's got some similar charge moves. But alas, I'm pretty certain that Fraxure would be good. Let's put that way.
Is it worth me powering up my rank 3,672 Fraxure?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
if you're going to use it, yeah.
It's 10%. It's there's my rating. Can't see it.
No, I can't see it.
No.
We'll believe you.
Right.
We'll believe you.
Yeah.
It's not a Brax.
All you're doing there, Dan, is making Dragon Tail hit harder.
Yeah.
I'm in two minds, so I've obviously got this pretty good ranked Fraxure. But do I bring both? Do I bring a Haxorus and a Fraxure? That little extra spice.
That sounds like something for Handforth, mate.
That's got Handforth.
9 o'clock on the third Thursday of the month.
9 o'clock on the third Thursday. Oh, I'm in.
Yep. Putting it back to 9 o'clock just for you, Jake.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. Yeah, I'll put it in my calendar now. Third Thursday of the month. Let's do it.
Right. Well, before we
seen it here first, guys. Right on stream.
On stream.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, has anyone got any final thoughts on anything?
I think we've talked about some different Pokemon tonight. I don't think any of us have been, with the exception of Clark, no disrespect, because I do think Froslass is going to be fairly meta. I think the rest of us have skated sort of away from that, and it's definitely given me food for thought, should I say, rather, on what I'm going to actually use. I say this every month. I'm excited about it. I'll probably hate it in 2 weeks. You know,
I'm a lot more excited about this one than I was about Roller Cup.
You know what really excites me about this?
Yeah.
What really excites me about this is that you can quite happily have a team that's got 5 things weak to counter, and it doesn't matter. It's amazing.
Oh, you tell yourself that. I'll come in with Haxorus and I'll have a field day.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? If I face a Haxorus, so be it. But, you know.
Yeah. All, like, maybe one of them that you'll face the entire month.
I reckon Celio will beat that anyway. But anyway.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. That's fine.
Right, guys. Well, it's been a pleasure. Jake, Clark, thanks for coming on. I hope you've put you into
Me
it.
too.
Dan, glad you've chosen to spend your birthday with us this evening.
spend it any other way. Cheers, Byron, as Matt.
Awesome. Right. Good luck with the month, everyone. Catch you later.
You too. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers.